Hello, and welcome to Talk in the Microphone, where we review Logan Whitehurst's entire solo discography. I am Connor Nyberg, and I am an avid Logan Whitehurst fan.
And my name is Owen Otto, and I was a friend of Logan's and played in a band with him and played on some of his recordings.
Lovely to have you here, Owen.
It's truly a delight.
It's just so delightful. Today we will be reviewing Logan's fourth solo album. Earth is Big, it's called, and this is the first album he did under the name Logan Whitehurst and the Junior Science Club, and we'll get a little bit more into that later. But so this album came out in the great year 2000, Y2K.
The future.
The future was here and now, and it was in the past, and Logan Whitehurst was making music. Now, oh, and I have to ask you, so I'm kind of confused as to the timeline. So, Littleton Frog broke up in 2000, I'm pretty sure. So, did this album come out before or after that happened? And if so, like, were these songs kind of around at that time?
I don't remember exactly, but I think Littleton Frog broke up in April, and we kind of knew we were going to break up for months before that. That was just when the last show was. But I definitely know that these songs were being written and recorded many of them while the band was together, because I have memories of, like, you know, being on tour and Logan playing them for me and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, so this is his last album on MP3.com. The great MP3.com went defunct in 2003. But as a result, there's a lot of, I guess, more collaboration on this album than there was before. I mean, sure, there are a few tracks with you and Judah, but also with other MP3.com artists like Albrot or the Fullerenes.
Yeah, I guess it seemed really exciting at the time that you could, you know, for the first time, you could meet people who were like-minded, who lived really far away from you.
Yeah.
And like easily kind of like share files with them or get to know their stuff and this sort of thing.
Yeah. So how did he find people like Albrot and the Fullerenes?
I wasn't too aware of Albert at the time, but I definitely was aware of the Fullerenes. I think it was literally like either he listened to their stuff or I don't know who listened to each other's stuff first, but they just liked each other's music and then started emailing each other. And then I remember Logan even like went to Michigan to hang out with the Fullerenes. And one of the guys like came out to the Bay Area and hung out with us. It was like Logan and I were obsessed with their album for a year or so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, was that Better Dating Through Technology?
That's the one. Yeah.
That is a very good album. I cannot blame you there.
Yeah, it's like They Might Be Giants made love to Elvis Costello's first album.
I gotta. It's very sweet. It's very from the heart. I love it. Yeah, do you have any other notes on this album?
Nothing that comes to mind, but I'm going to have some amazing things to say as we listen to each track.
Oh yeah, and you play on a track on this album too, and I'm pretty sure that's the best one on this album.
Many people believe that. Nobody believes that.
But I do gotta say before we start, there's a lot of, I guess, technical innovations that Logan has on this album, and I think as a result, it's probably going to be his best one up to this point. He's still recording on a 4-track, I believe, but he's experimenting more with multi-track recording on a computer and all that stuff, and as a result, the sound comes out as much cleaner than his previous 3 albums.
Yeah, definitely, and there's advances in the performance and arrangement as well, for sure.
Yeah, so that's why I've been very excited to review this album, because there's a lot of really, really good stuff here. So let's get started with track 1, the Junior Science Club theme.
We are popular. We wear headphones. We are talking the microphone. We don't care what you say, but we care what you do. We're the invisible entity that looks out for you. We're watching your every move with our X-ray machine. There's nothing that you can hide that we cannot see. We will be the ones who make things go.
It's pretty cool. I think this one is definitely the hallmark of what you're saying of like the increase in sound quality. And I remember after Logan made this song, he was like just really proud of how full it sounds and how big it sounds, and thought that it was like a big leap forward in his ability to record.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with him and you there. I mean, it's definitely, this first track is just rocking. Logan had to say about it, I came out of a long bout of writer's block with an epiphany. I will change the name of my group so I can think in different ways. The Junior Science Club is my ticket to rock. I'm not going to change the music much, it's just a psychological thing, don't worry. This song took me 16 hours to record. Music on one day, sleep off the backache of singing my 4-track, 6 tracks of vocals and editing the next day. I can safely say this is my most rocking song yet. This also marks the first time I played the guitar by myself and used real chords. Actually, that brings up a good point. He doesn't play guitar much, does he, on these tracks?
As far as I can recollect, I don't remember seeing Logan ever really play guitar other than just kind of messing around with it.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. Do you know why he, because I mean, here he sounds pretty good. He's playing like actual chords and stuff, so he knows how to play guitar. Do you know why he didn't play it more often?
I think it's because he wanted me to have some use in the universe. My guess is it's because he was just like a very practical person, and I think when he was first starting out, like his stepbrother played guitar, and so he thought, well, I want to play with my stepbrother, so they need a drummer, so okay, I'll play drums. And then he kind of played drums in his first band, and they had a piano around the house, so we probably messed around on the piano. And then when we were in a band together, probably not that many years later, I played guitar, so he would just kind of like do the thing that was different. That's one possible theory.
Gotcha. That is interesting, because I think this is the one and only track where he plays guitars. But no, I definitely gotta agree with him though. This is a really rockin' track, and as you said, it sounds much fuller than anything he had on either of his albums before. So this is definitely a just transition track.
Yeah, and I'm not totally sure how he did it, but I think it had to do with kind of bouncing things between the computer and the 4-track.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. And it says here, I think he said 6 tracks of vocals, so it definitely had much more flexibility on the computer than he did with just sitting at his 4-track, even though he did use it on here.
Yeah, I also think this one's really prescient because it name checks our podcast in it.
Exactly, yeah. No, how did he know that? How did he know 19 years before we started this podcast that he just name checked it?
The dude is smart. I mean, Conner, you probably weren't even born yet, and he knew that this was
I know. I was but a wee babe, and he knew. All right, and that brings us to track 2, What I Did to the Cat.
I guess this one is the first presence on this album of that little kid's toy that you pull the string and it makes an animal noise.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah, this is the awesome use of that. And now I think I actually know the story behind this track, so correct me if I'm wrong. So the cat, whose name was Chloe, belonged to Dominic Davi of Tsunami Bomb. And I woke up Logan one night, and Logan put it in the sink, and it ran off, and he went back to bed.
Yep, that's the way you told it to me. I think basically at this time, Logan and Dominic were roommates, but they kind of lived like in a converted barn on, Dominic's parents' sort of like space in Petaluma. It's kind of a little bit outside the city. So what's cool about this is, probably he had cheap rent, but he also could have his drums set up in this barn. It's like a really big room, and it had a piano in it. And to me, when I hear this, it sounds like it's recorded in that room, like at the way the reverb is. I don't know if that's delusional, but that's how it sounds to me. And so this made it so that he could really easily record his drums without having to like go find somewhere to do it.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, and that does bring up a good point. I think this is the, this might be one of his first tracks where all the instruments are real. Like, the drum kit is his actual drum kit. Judah's playing the bass, but there's a piano. And besides the cat sample, I think everything's, actually recorded live.
Ah, yeah.
And this also brings up another good point. This track also brings up an actual piano, which appears quite heavily on this album. And I'm really glad to hear it. This is the beginning of like Logan and his actual piano kind of phase, and I love hearing Logan on an actual piano.
Yeah, and I'm honestly guessing it's just because they had a piano there.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Listening to this track again, I noticed something I didn't before. Is there maybe I'm crazy, but I hear like during like the second verse, I hear like a fiddle sound, like a violin or something in the left in the channel or something.
Oh,
and
I didn't notice that.
It's like a soft drone or some sort, but it's definitely some kind of stringed instrument.
Huh, I didn't notice that. When Judah was in Littleton Frog, he played like an upright bass with a lot of electric upright bass with a bow, so that's one possible thing it could be.
That might have been it. Yeah, no, because it was definitely like some kind of stringed drone of some sort. But it was weird because I didn't notice it before, and then all of a sudden I'm hearing this drone, and I'm like, what the hell is that? But yeah, no, it's in the track. It's so funny.
I guess one kind of theme of this album is that Judah and Logan were definitely hanging out a lot and doing a lot of music together. So I think Judah's on a lot of these tracks.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, that's definitely interesting. But this track, What I Did to the Cat, this is definitely up there with one of Logan's kind of like on the verge of losing it kind of songs, except this actually happened, so he couldn't hold back his tendencies this time around, but it made a very amusing song.
Indeed.
Alrighty, and that transitions straight to track 3, the Audubon Society.
Again!
Well, okay.
Yay! The Audubon Society was formed not in 1883, but in 1886 by George Grinnell. He found it hard to justify the number of native birds who died to satisfy the hat shop clientele. He said, why do we shoot them from the sky when they're only passing by? Why not count the birds instead? They can't sing if they are dead. If they're stuffed and on your head, or baked into a pie. The chicken on that fence post laid the eggs to make my French toast. I know you like French toast, I know you do.
It's funny, it just occurred to me that I bet you we put this one after the last song. The last song is like an abusing animals song.
Yeah.
This one's about protecting wildlife.
Save the birds, put the cats in the sink.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful message. But actually, and also that brings up another good point. This song, I think this is like one of the first time he does a in-album transition, because he obviously transitioned it with the animal wheel and the again, so that it kind of merges together. And he does that much more on like Goodbye My 4 track, but this is just one of the first examples of him actually doing that, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
like,
the Audubon Society.
I like this one. I think that the the two reasons I like this song are those backup vocals of the birds. Doo doo,
Yeah.
doo doo, ah. And it reminds me of the Tiki Room at Disneyland,
Oh yeah.
where you've got all these like little animatronic birds singing.
Yeah, and they got the little song going on in the Tiki Room.
Yeah, I really love that. And and then I like French toast, so
Yeah, I like French toast too, and I'm glad Logan knows that we like French toast. That's any song with French toast just warms my heartstrings. All
yeah,
right,
and
we got
it's cool because it's I guess this one continues the sort of like science themed songs, but it's a little bit different than the other ones.
yeah, it's very much like the They Might Be Giants kind of educational theme,
Yeah.
but this one has French toast, so it's obviously superior. All right, and that leads us into track 4, Paranoia.
What did you think you heard when you thought you heard somebody behind the mirror at the mini mart? They let the air out of your purple Sierra's tires and left you stranded in the parking lot.
Hey, you! Do you wanna be paranoid forever?
If your eyes are dollar signs, they'll tell you what to think.
Hey, you! Do you wanna get out of this situation?
They'll never touch you if your eyes are on the blink.
Better watch your step. Better walk a little faster. Better have eyes in the back of your head. Whoa, maybe they know you're onto something. You're better safe than sorry. You're better paranoid than dead. Whoa.
What do you think, Connor? Did it
I
rock
really
you?
like this song. I really do enjoy it. It reminds me, it's kind of going back to the Junior Science Club theme in that it's very full. And so apparently he took this horn sample from an Albrot song called Feedbag, and then he kind of just built on top of it like layers and layers and layers, and made this whole new song out of it. And I actually really enjoy it. It's a very funky jam.
This one I have kind of mixed feelings on. On the one hand, I feel like it's a real leap forward in recording and arranging. As you
Yeah.
say, it's so big sounding. It kind of is a bit of a... it has some Oingo Boingo quality.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And there's like minor chord arpeggios and whatnot. And I think the singing is better. And yeah, it's really pro sounding. But then it kind of makes me miss... I remember when I was first hearing this, I was like missing the old school Logan. I don't know, like there's something about it that when it starts getting this good sounding,
Yeah.
then it makes me start being like, well, what are the lyrics about? Is it? I don't know. It makes me kind of look at it through a different lens than I do when I'm listening to like I Would Be a Biggest Octopus, where I'm just kind of enjoying that it's like this madman like experimenting.
Yeah, you have to look at it like an actual song now. It's no longer just a bunch of experiments. He kind of knows what you're doing, so you wanna critique it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I gotcha. That's no, I understand, and it has gotten to that point. But it is kind of sad that it seems like, at least in this point in the album, it seems like he's grown out of the old Logan and into the new Logan. But I think the next track will satisfy your hunger for the old Logan. For track 5 is a 42-second ditty, if you can call it that, of Bubba's Throat.
It's hard in my throat. It's hard in my throat. It's hard in my throat. It's hard in my throat. It's hard in my throat. It's hard in my throat. It's hard in my throat. It's hard in my throat. It's hard in my throat. It's hard in my throat. It's hard in my throat. It's hard in my throat. It's hard in my throat. It's hard in my throat. It's hard in my throat. It's hard in my throat.
Yeah, this is the way I like it. Yeah, we played this song. We had this song at my wedding. So.
I bet the dance floor was bustling.
Yeah, the great grandmothers, they really dug it.
But yeah, I'm so surprised that Bubba is such a rhythmic cougher. I didn't realize anybody could have such a rhythmic cough that just flowed so well, you know?
He's a multi-instrumentalist, yes.
I guess, yeah. I mean, plays guitar and coughs. For those of you who don't know, Bubba is Kevin Sir from fellow California band Lucky Strike. Were they from Petaluma or were they from a different area?
They were from Sacramento, which was maybe about a 2-hour drive away from us. But we started touring. We were touring kind of around Northern California a lot, so we would see them pretty often.
Yeah.
And we went to Sacramento a lot. So Logan in particular was really close with everyone in that band. They'd hang out.
Yeah, and they did I Like Pez, didn't they?
They did do I Like Pez, and I think you probably would remember more than me. Like, I think he went and helped them record one of their albums maybe around this time.
I think so, yeah. And I think also that the something from those sessions actually kind of pop up here later on this album. But yeah, so Bubba was doing some silly voices for Logan, and it was hard on his throat, so he coughed, and a star was born that day.
Yeah, and I think this is the theme that we always mention, where it's just like, he's just making these songs to make his friends laugh.
Well, I legitimately enjoy this one, especially. I mean, after hearing it so many times, I want to cough along with him, if that makes any sense, you know.
Totally.
I just want to be there coughing with him. Track 6 is another little silly little ditty called "I Want to Rock."
It was my 13th birthday. Mom bought me a guitar. She said, "Good bridge over troubled water." And I said, "But Mom, I want to rock." Because I like to rock. Rock. Come on, I want to rock. Rock. I wanna rock. Are you gonna let me spend my days in a purple haze? Mid to late 80s was the glory days. Nelson and Aerosmith grinding their axes. Crotch pants, booty dance, cheating on taxes. I don't wanna listen to Yanni or Goth. I wanna hear Eddie Way with David Lee Roth. Kissing the Clash, Prince and the Cure back when rock was pure. I leverage over troubled waters. Mom said, "It's my little boy. You'll be such a fine musician." I said, "But Mom, I want to."
I've never heard anything like this song. It's like, it's madness.
It is utter insanity. And so yeah, "I Want to Rock." It's actually a collaboration between Logan and Judah. It's like a duet, if you want to call it that. And Logan notes that he likes the fact that not even one bit of the song even remotely approaches anything sounding even slightly like it might resemble music, which might remind you of sounds remotely close to indicating the influence or even the presence of rock. And I have to agree wholeheartedly, but I'm bopping to this tune. I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, I think the thing that makes this song really weird is it seems like lots of instruments and voices are sped up or slowed down, so it just feels really off kilter. And I think having, like, I'm pretty sure it's Judah's sped up, makes there be this other voice that I always kind of thought was Logan's voice, but didn't sound like him, so I couldn't understand how that was coming about.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize that that was Judah either until looking this up. But yeah, no, it's a duet, if you want to call it that. But I know what you mean. It's like you're listening to the song at the wrong speed or something, but at the same time, it just kind of adds to the experience. I love it.
Yeah.
I want to rock now. I want to rock. And track 7 is a little romantic ditty for all you lovebirds out there called "Calculator Love." Logan says, I'd wanted to do this song for a long time, but I had no idea what it was about. Now I do. You can't solve your romantic problems logically, and you can't get Alvin to speed rehab because he's too wiry and quick to catch.
Yeah, this one definitely sounds like a Chipmunks collab.
It does. This is a really classic song right here. Very simple, but I mean, again, it's got him on the real piano, and it's very essentially Logan. You can hear it all throughout it. If it weren't for the chipmunk vocals on top, and I think this appears on his Denture's Doorknob mini album, which came out the year before. So this is obviously a long time in the making.
So was this one? Is this one a popular one with Logan fans on the internets?
I think so. I'm not too sure, but I personally really like this track. I really like it. It's because it's short and sweet and everything neat.
Yeah, and it's got the melody, it's got the math comedy.
Yeah, and it's got Alvin and the Chipmunks, and Alvin apparently has a speed addiction, which I was not aware of. I'm sorry to Theodore and Simon for that. That they had to go through that.
Seriously,
They
yeah.
have to live with that. That's so sad.
Too bad we can't hear more from Logan on what that recording experience was like.
I bet it was pretty intense. All right, so track 8 is without the Chipmunks, and it's called Watertown.
Welcome.
Welcome to Watertown, where it's all your fault. I'm working in securities at the shopping mall. The doctor is a maniac, but the air is free. Second-hand oxygen is all I breathe. This is a town with a melody. The birds sing it back to me until I hold my hands up and say, why don't you stop? And I think I'm on the verge of insanity, and I lost my wallet, my car keys, my shoes, and my socks, and I think that I'm losing my mind.
Do you want to have the first word, Connor? What's that? Do you want to have the first word on this song?
A really interesting track. I really like it. Again, this is one, I believe it's completely all real instruments, a live track, and this is kind of like the closest thing there was to Lilton Frog Reunion, wasn't it? Because it was you on guitar, Judah on bass, and Logan on drums and vocals.
To some degree, perhaps, but it definitely felt like a Logan song to me. And around this time, we were doing kind of lots of different collaborations with each other. And, like we did stuff where like I'd make a track and he'd write music to it, or he'd write a track and I'd write music to it, or different things like that. So this just kind of seemed like one of them. But what's kind of interesting about this one is we recorded pretty much the whole thing. I definitely didn't record drums, but we recorded everything else at my house on my computer using Pro Tools.
Oh, cool.
So I kind of got to see like how we did everything.
Yeah. How was that like?
I think the thing that stands out the most to me is the watching him record the backup vocals, because he did it really fast. And I mean, there's 3-part harmonies and stuff in there, and you just can like hear it. He just had it all in his mind. And he wasn't like having a keyboard set up to work them out or anything.
Yeah.
It was just like all in his mind. He would just do it. He'd be like, all right, do that one. All right, now we'll do the next one. Do the next one. Maybe he might, like change them a little bit, but pretty much he would just do it really fast.
That's interesting. Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. I really do like this track. And it's funny that you say this is definitely a Logan track, because I could definitely hear like Christine singing on this. It reminds me a lot of like on the lines of like Welcome to Nowhere or something like that, you know, like going out of your mind in this place where nothing happens.
Oh, like lyrically, it's maybe a little bit more akin to Little Tin Frog then. Yeah,
and I was wondering if this was like something that was intended for Little Tin Frog or something along those lines.
Not really. Like, definitely, I think Logan kind of wanted to keep his music separate to some degree. So he didn't really bring in songs to Little Tin Frog. The songs that he contributed a lot to were ones that we just kind of wrote all together at the same time.
Yeah.
And this one was very much, you know, like Judah and I played on it, but Logan was very much like directing us, you know. Like whenever I would play on as one of his songs, I would kind of like play a bunch of stuff and he would pick out the things he liked.
Cool. Yeah, no, I really do like this one. And it's also interesting because this is a kind of like a really weird change of pace on the album. I mean, yeah, it's still silly to some degree, but at the same time it's also, like you're saying with Paranoia, this is like it's like a real song. It's like, oh my god, he's writing real songs at this point. And so it's just interesting to hear this mixed in with stuff like I Want to Rock and Bubba's Throat. And that's kind of seems to be the pace for the entire album here. It's like you got real songs, like real like thought out kind of stuff mixed in with these audio experiments. And but you're seeing a little bit less of these audio experiments and more of these, I guess, actual songs, you know?
Yeah, I guess even the audio experiments are kind of songs, are pretty good songs. But this one, maybe it's that he's experimenting with kind of different lyrical themes.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You're trying out more kind of less funny stuff. You know, he did a little bit of that before, but I think much more on this album.
Oh yeah,
For some reason, this one's, I don't exactly know what it's about, but when I listen to it, it kind of, I can't think of any way to say it other than it kind of moves me. I get engaged with the lyrics. It has some sort of strange, surreal quality to it.
Yeah, it does. And at the same time, it's kind of relatable. I mean, everyone's felt like you're kind of stuck in this one place and you can't ever get out, you can't ever leave. And that's why it reminds me a lot of Little Tin Frog in that way. It's like angsty without being too dramatic. Yeah.
Interesting.
But a little fun fact on this song: if you look up Watertown on Wikipedia, this song is actually in the music section. Watertown may refer to music. Watertown, a song in the album Earth is Big, 2000, by Logan Whitehurst, right underneath an album by Frank Sinatra. Another interesting note, Watertown is apparently the nickname for Area 51. So, what was Logan trying to tell us? Was he trying to say something?
He was definitely trying to say something. But let's not give it
look
away
into it too much.
there.
Not while we're on the internet here. We might have to talk about it off the internet here. But track 9 on this album is a very personal favorite, and I think a fan favorite as well. It's called OhMyGodImOnFire.
See him running from the porch like some kind of human torch. Orange tendrils everywhere, acrid stench of burning hair, flailing like a drowning bird. In the dirt he scrawls this word: OhMyGodImOnFire. Burning bright from head to shoe, stopping, dropping, rolling too. La 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 la.
So I'm not remembering any other examples right now, but this is Logan definitely had a lot of songs, some of them that are not even recorded, where he would do spelling of things.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's right, and that's he was a national champion at the spelling bee, wasn't he?
Exactly.
He went to the National Spelling Bee, and he lost in the second round because he couldn't spell a word I can't even pronounce. What was it? Odontolexia?
I say odontoloxia, but
Odontoloxia. Why would you ever need to know that word? I don't know.
the only
But
reason
hey.
is if you're at the National Spelling Bee.
Yeah, or if you're in dentistry, apparently. But hey, he made it to the National Spelling Bee. I don't think that's too bad of a word to misspell. That's like what even? I don't think that's fair. I think he should have gotten a rematch. Honestly,
Yeah,
that's a real word. I don't believe it.
he
I'm looking
seemed
at it right now.
he seemed to have mixed feelings about it. Like on the one end, he was like, "Oh, cool, I didn't have to stay and be stressed out more for the further rounds, and got to go
Yeah.
around and see Washington D.C."
Yeah.
But I think he was a little bummed.
Yeah. No, I remember hearing the story how because they have the counselors at the spelling bee because kids get really upset when they lose like a word or whatever, and so they have like counselors, and for like a half hour you speak with the counselor. And apparently he said he went to the counselor and he was out in like 5 minutes because he wasn't too upset because he was like, I want to see DC.
Oh,
I
perfect.
think I think that's the best way to do it. But yeah, no, this is definitely very heavy on the spelling, and it rhymes too. And it's just all around, it's just a very clever song. I really enjoy it, and I think this is one where it's like Logan can be silly, but this I think is like a true like just comedic song. Like this is one that you'd hear on Dr. Demento.
Yeah, this is a definitely good one.
Yeah, and so I really like this one. This one gets a gold star from me. Track 10 is an interesting little track. It's called Tokyo Narita. The water is made of rain.
Why is the rain so wet, so wet? Why is the rain so wet? Why is the rain so wet, so wet, wet? Why is the rain so freaking wet? It's made of water, made of water, made of water. Maybe it's just that the water's made of rain. Why are my tears so wet, so wet? Why are my tears so wet? Why are my tears so wet, 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 wet? Why are my tears so wet? Made of water, made of water, made of water. Maybe it's just that the water's made of tears.
So this,
is
so this.
yes.
All right, you're up, Connor. You have the
All
conch.
right. This is an interesting song. I believe it's a another collaboration between Logan and Judah, and I really like this track too. But I honestly, for the life of me, can't tell you why. I just really like it. But when I listen to it, I'm like, this is too weird for color TV, and yet I really like it.
Yeah, this one's kind of my least favorite, I gotta say. I just don't. This kind of contradicts my thing about when I wanted him to do like more, because it feels like really like written really quickly without a lot of overthinking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It just kind of bugs me. Why we you know?
And then the Japanese voices at the end, and then it builds up Tokyo Narita, and it's just like the whole song is so random, and yet it's like it's kind of this kind of is a fan favorite. I've heard covers of this song by different people.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
people like this. Maybe because it's so simple. I mean, I really like it too. Maybe that's why I like it. I still don't get the Japanese reference. I don't get this song. I really don't. But I'm not gonna question it. I'm not gonna question the hidden genius that is Tokyo Narita.
If you feel it, you feel it.
I know. You just gotta go with the feels. Yeah. What is Tokyo Narita actually? I'm gonna look this up. Tokyo Narita. It's an airport. It's an international airport in Japan. Huh. Actually, I know Judah and Logan went to Japan for Velveteen. Did they ever go to Japan before? Or?
As far as I know, no. They'd never been to
Huh.
Japan. Yeah, like Judah, I remember went to Iceland hoping to see Bjork, or maybe saw Bjork for like
Oh,
New Year's Eve, 1999.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone they'd ever been to Japan until they went there with Velveteen,
Interesting.
which
Huh.
would have been well after this.
Yeah. Actually, kind of going off topic a little bit. When you said Judah went to Iceland, I looking up the Velveteen. That's when it says that the Velveteen started as kind of a electronic side project of Judah's, and it said he played there live or something. Is there anything you can say about that?
Well, so even while, like, I think during this album going on, Judah and Logan were playing together a lot and recording stuff. This thing that was wound up being called the Secret Band because it was
Yeah.
a secret from Little Tin Frog that they were doing that side thing. I think there was just like stuff they wanted to do that didn't fit in with what Little Tin Frog was doing.
Yeah.
And so then they kind of the band broke up, but I think Judah was doing some electronic stuff on the side that maybe he started using that name, and it totally wasn't clear at all that Logan and Judah were going to form a band that was going to be more like an indie rock band. Like I remember seeing Judah perform by himself and doing some of the Secret Band songs and some other songs that later became Velveteen songs. But just kind of slowly over time, they started playing with Josh, and it merged into the Velveteen, and they took that name that Judah had been using separately as the name of the band.
Gotcha. What projects were you doing about this time? I know you collaborated with Logan and Judah here. It's apparent. I mean, what stuff were you doing on the side?
I think I was working on writing my own songs, and I remember that I played with this guy named James Combs. I recorded on his record, and Judah and I played some shows with James,
Oh, cool.
the backing band. And actually, yeah, I forgot to mention, we were listening to Watertown. It's so cool I just really love the way Judah plays bass. And
Yeah.
some of the coolest stuff he did on bass was when we were playing with James's band, but there's no recordings of that or anything.
Oh, dang. But yeah, no. So this kind of solidifies the fact that this album really is kind of a huge transition album. So I'm assuming at this point, so Little Tin Frog broke up. Logan and Judah and Dominic are all kind of hanging out together. But I mean, everyone's kind of like trying to figure out where to go from here. So this kind of also sets the tone for the next track, which is going to be a complete 180 on everything we've heard so far. In that Logan's just trying to, I guess, figure out what he wants to do after this. And I think maybe that's why Junior Science Club became a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that kind of sets the tone for this next track, which is a cover track of a very good Fullerene song. It's called Big Mistake.
Do you feel the need to talk? To fill up space, just run your mouth. If I had anything to say, I would have already. It's too late to try too hard. We went too far, so don't talk. I couldn't answer if you asked. So let's be for the where we are, after effect, where reject seeds grasp. I can't relax around you anymore. I didn't ask you for this. I don't believe in second chances. Every kiss is a kiss goodbye. Every kiss is a kiss goodbye.
This is really good. I really like this, but at the same time, it is like, again, it's a complete like 180 from everything we've heard so far.
Yeah, I also really like it. I kind of would prefer it to listen to it not on this album, just
Yeah,
like separate.
exactly.
But I think it's I really like the original song, but he's made it more of a piano ballad. I think it's more guitar in the original.
Yeah,
And yeah, and I feel like it's I definitely hear like his piano playing being much better than before.
yeah. No, I definitely agree. He's more polished. He's kind of going off, and he's more confident in his playing as a result.
Yeah, and I think this is a pretty daring step for him to sing like this too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting because I think the only instruments there are on this track, it's just piano, drums, and Logan singing on it. Yet at the same time, it's almost like you can hear other instruments, like kind of like you know, listening to Daniel Johnston or something. Not that it's anywhere near like as bare bones as Daniel Johnston is, but like you hear just like a rough demo of some song or something, and you just kind of can hear like the other parts that just aren't there. You know what I mean?
Oh, you think your ear fills it in? You
Yeah,
can just kind of
exactly.
imagine
And
it.
Yeah, and that's why I was so confused when I realized there wasn't any bass, because I kept hearing a bass track, but there really wasn't any there.
What's impressive to me when I listen to this is just thinking about that he couldn't play all the instruments at the same time, but yet you hear things like little builds. Where
Yeah,
the instruments that's pretty tricky to do when you're just doing them one at a time to like kind of really nail that stuff.
Yeah, so no, he definitely had this all in his head. And again, I think the best part about this is that it's a cover song, but at the same time, it's its own unique identity, and it's not going solely off of the acoustic track that was the original. For those of you who want to check it out, it's the last track on Better Dating Through Technology by the Fullerenes, and but I mean, this song really does kind of stand on its own, and I gotta give him props for that, because that's a really hard thing to do, to make a cover that's original from the original.
Yeah, and I think too it sort of fits in with a little bit of the theme we've been talking about, where he's like experimenting with making more serious, moving stuff.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of figuring out how to do that on this album.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you could see the. I wonder if the Special Gift to You, that was later a Velveteen song, was written around this time.
I think it was. Yeah. I think the demo was written about maybe this time 2000, maybe 2001. But yeah, no. So this is definitely setting the tone of Logan not only experimenting more with his silly stuff and just audio experiments, but also with more serious, I guess, ballads, you could say, just more darker kind of stuff. And it's interesting because I mean, I think when he finally like Goodbye My 4-track comes in, none of this is there. So I mean, this is obviously very experimental still.
Right, it's experimental, but no one hearing it would be. It's Logan experimenting, but it's not experimental music.
Yeah, exactly. But again, like what you said, this is a really good track, but it stands out like a sore thumb on this album. It really does. It's like, because you got Tokyo Narita, the really weird zany collaboration preceding it, and then you've got Farewell Hesperus, which is the next track on this album, and let's just give that a listen here.
All right.
Giving vibes to the job, talking choir boy. The rocking chair lady said, "You stinker!" Everybody's packing a hairpiece on the channel with the funny name. 16 miles to the nearest food. The rocking chair lady said, "You stinker!" Head, spine, ankle bone, finger, and foot. The ship is sinking and that ain't good.
Farewell, Hesperus. We hope it didn't bleed too much. Farewell, Hesperus. Your drawing skills are a definite strength.
So what you gonna do now? Gotta make it look right. Gotta stay up 25 hours a night. Damn the torpedoes to make my lunch. Make a peanut butter sandwich and a gallon of punch. When the sun goes down in Watertown.
Nice Watertown reference.
I know, I really like that. But yeah, this is that again. It's like he turned us 180 with Big Mistake, and then he does it again with Farewell Hesperus. It's so silly and random. So I'm looking off the Wikipedia article here. So in Greek mythology, Hesperus is the evening star, the planet Venus in the evening. He is the son of the dawn goddess Eos, and is the half brother of her other son Phosphorus, also called Eosphorus, the morning star. So I don't know what Hesperus has to do with with this song, but yeah, there's a little Greek trivia for you there.
Yeah, it's got the rap kind of verse, but I think I like the chorus.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there, and I like the rocking chair lady.
Yeah.
And track 13, Lucky Track 13, is a very short tune. It's called Island of Monkeys.
I think if Logan had lived longer, I feel very confident that he would have been hired by Nintendo.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you there. This is definitely, again, another change of pace, another experiment. So this one, apparently it's an instrumental tribute to Monkey Island, what Logan says was one of the best series of games ever. And this definitely reeks of like just an old school video game right here. And I could like see myself playing on like an NES or something. And apparently this isn't a MIDI track. I thought for sure, like the first time I heard it, that it was a MIDI program track, because you know I'm assuming back then that at this point they could do like MIDI tracks, but apparently it was all done by hand. So I mean that's really impressive in and of itself.
You know why Logan would do things by hand? It's because he could, and it's faster.
Yeah, no, I guess that's true.
Like when you get in there, like punching in all the things, it takes days.
That's true.
But
yeah.
so like all the drum tracks and stuff, like when it's even when it's a drum machine, he would play it.
Oh wow.
You know,
Like
maybe
on
he
the
might.
keyboard?
Yeah, I mean, maybe he might go in and tweak the MIDI or something later, but he would generally play the stuff because he could kind of do it perfectly in one take usually.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this is again, it's another little thing. Like by itself, this is actually really nice, but it just really doesn't fit in with this album. And maybe this album isn't meant to like fit together as easily. Maybe it is just supposed to be more like a collection than it is an album.
I mean, I think we were always into those albums that varied a lot, like They Might Be Giants Flood or the Beatles Revolver, and we even tried to do that in Little Tin Frog with some of the stuff. Yeah. But sometimes it works more than others. But I do like that aesthetic of the kind of random album.
Yeah, and I like this too. It is very it adds a lot of variety, and it's also it kind of shows off what Logan's capable of doing right now. It's not him sticking to one thing. He's kind of going all over the place, and I really do like it.
Yeah.
But going back old school here, he's bringing back something that everybody knows and loves, the best product in the world and the universe combined, Farkle, new and improved.
Farkle!
Farkle! Since 1942 and before, Farkle has been an international institution known worldwide for its endurance, reliability, celery smell, and freshness in the face of adversity, mold, concrete, Dostoevsky, ready-made pie crust, tackle box, and reducing swelling in children ages 14 to 86. Farkle was history in the making. Why, even Farkle's late creator, the late creator of Farkle, used to say,
I forgot what I was going to say. It was quite funny, though. An amusing anecdote.
Yes, as our American boys marched off to war, marching over land, marching overseas, and marching in the air, Farkle and Farkle commercials kept their spirits alive and sparkling clean. Why, here's an old Farkle commercial from the old days of black and white right here.
Yes, friends, the year is 1942 and before. Adolphus Hitler and his mighty army of nasties are rising up, and Farkle is cheaper than ever. Buy it today and save a lot of hassle. And now, frozen in this block of ice, is the creator of Farkle himself, would you say a few words for us here today? Now, right this moment, here's the microphone here. Go ahead.
I forgot what I was going to say. It was quite funny, though. An amusing anecdote.
Personally, I think this is my favorite Farkle commercial out of the ones he's made. Because this one, it's also, I think it's the longest one he made. It's a little over 4.5 minutes, and he just goes all out on this one. This is also the first one he had other people on. He had Kevin Sir, Bubba, and this actually might be the session where he coughed and made the infamous Bubba's throat song. Matlock Zumsteg, who I believe he was kind of collaborating with at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. I don't remember how maybe they must have met through the internet or something as well. But
yeah.
Matlock was kind of doing sketch comedy, and I think Logan wrote the theme for his sketch comedy show.
That's right. Yeah, no, it was called It's the Show, and I think there are some clips up on YouTube. Everyone wants to check it out. And Eric Hansen is also on this track. Who's Eric Hansen? Is he from Hansen?
I believe this is Logan's stepbrother.
Okay.
Maybe not. No. I think that's wrong. I think that's another. I forget Logan's stepbrother's last name. His first name's Eric. I think it was
another. Now I'm forgetting. Greg. Greg's his last name.
Oh yeah. I do remember who Eric Hansen is, but I can't tell you anything about him. He's
the lead singer of Hanson, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why he couldn't get his brothers to be on this track.
Yeah, no. So we got the lead singer from Hanson. I mean, Logan and his connections. That's what this album's showing off. He got Alvin out of Speed Rehab, and now he's getting the lead singer of Hanson on the Farkle commercial.
Perfect.
That's amazing. That's just another reason why this is the best Farkle commercial ever.
My favorite thing in this one is just the broadcast, the World War II broadcast, and just how that sounds very real to me. I don't know how you do that.
You actually did a really good job with that. I like the testimony about the person with their dogs who died, and how it sounds so cut up. But I'm sure it's like from the same session. He had to actually like change the EQ of like the different tracks to make it sound like it was from different sources, so that it cut all up and made it obviously sound like it was from different places when it probably wasn't.
Exactly. It's just, you could tell he's having so much fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing that.
And this is him playing around with the computer more, definitely, and with different effects to kind of achieve what he's looking for, and he pulls it off really well. I really like this one.
It would be impossible for me to have a favorite Farkle, though, because like I can't.
Oh, no.
They're not distinct entities to me. They're all
one big Farkle commercial.
It's sort of like when you go to a mall, you're like, oh, I'm at the mall again. All malls are the same.
I don't know though. Some malls have like the big amusement parks in the middle. Those are gotta be pretty awesome.
Okay.
I would go.
I mean, this is the weirdest. Farkle is the weirdest mall I've ever been to.
I gotta agree with you there. Farkle is a pretty weird mall. Track 15 is a personal favorite of mine as well. It's called "She's 10 Feet Tall."
I have a little. I just think we need to go back to our childlike days. As children, it never dawned on us to put limits around things.
I'm on the phone with her, and she says she is tired of being unpredictable, so she's going to go to Portland. She's going to go away. I don't care if she's crazy. I heard lycanthropy is curable. It takes a bulldozer to knock her down, and she gets back up again. She gets back up again. She's 10 feet tall. She's 10 feet tall, and I'm intimidated. She's 10 feet tall. She's 10 feet tall, and I'm intimidated.
This is one of my favorite songs on the record.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely gotta agree. Logan says, "Nothing like a little drum loop to break you out of a songwriting slump, just like honey to the bee, baby." So, that brings up a good point. Because he said with the Junior Science Club theme that he came up with the name to break him out of a writer's block period. So how often did Logan have like writer's block or something of that sort?
I think that when he says that, he meant like there was a moment when he didn't have good ideas for a second. Because so if you think about it, he's during all the time of all these records we're talking about, he's going to school full time and making a bunch of he's an art major, so he's making a bunch of art projects. He's touring and writing songs and playing with Littleton Frog. I mean, we were playing a lot for a local band that's not signed or anything, and making albums there. And then he's, we recorded an album a year or something of that order. And then he's doing all these on the side as well, like all these albums, like at least one a year. And so I think he was super, super productive. So when he talks about having writer's block, I think we would all love to have writer's block like him.
That's just funny. It sounds like, from what I've gathered, it seems like he would, if he had a period where, if a day went by that he didn't have anything good, he would record something, just anything, and then he would call that productive for the day. I think there's a little track out there on the internet called Abercrombie is a Weirdo, and it is probably, the laziest Logan song I heard, and from what I gather, that was just a day where he didn't have anything, and so he just recorded that. But, it sounds like he was always recording and always writing here.
He was a weird thing is I don't think of him as someone who's a really hard worker.
Yeah.
It's not like he was somebody who, I remember when we had roommates, we'd be like, oh man, Logan's left his mess around again and stuff like that. Not that he was a super dirty guy or anything, but I think it just kind of if you were trying to make up music with him and it wasn't coming, he'd be like, let's just go do something else.
Gotcha, yeah. Sounds like he kind of went with the flow there.
He went with the flow, yeah. So I think it just, and maybe that's a little bit of why it came easily. He didn't push it. He didn't push it too hard or overthink it.
That's probably best, yeah. Or else we wouldn't have songs like "She's 10 Feet Tall," which I really, really like this song. It's funny though, because it's obviously it's linked with "Marie, You're Taller Than Me." I think it's the same woman, isn't it?
I believe this is about the same woman whose name is not Marie. Just because I remember him having a crush on this one particular woman, and she moved to Portland. Which, by the way, that's one of the lyrics I really like, because this might be a thing that you had to be around to get the sarcasm in it. She says she's tired of being predictable.
Unpredictable, so she moves to Portland.
Which was a really cliche thing to do at the time in our area.
Yeah.
Because there was kind of a good music scene up in Portland, and it was a lot less expensive. So lots of people were moving up to Portland.
Gotcha. Because the way he says it, it sounds like it's funny because she wants to be unpredictable, so she's gonna do the most random thing and move to Portland.
Exactly.
And and it's funny because obviously he's referring to this woman, but it reminds me a lot of Christine, since she's up in Portland, and she seems like the kind of person that would say just that.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why the show Portlandia exists.
But yeah, no, definitely, this is one of my one of the favorites on this album. It's definitely it's just a really, really good track.
I think that this is kind of I like this one because you could tell what it's about. It's it's fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
But it also has a lot of interesting lyrics to think about, like the lycanthropy reference.
Oh yeah, lycanthropy is caramel.
I love that.
I do. I was like, I didn't realize you could put lycanthropy in a song, and that's beautiful. And I like the part where he breaks the coffee cup, and all of a sudden he has an existential crisis. Where's my coffee? Where's my sense of direction?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Really, it's got it all. It's got it all, and she's
it's pretty. It's clever and moving.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that really helps it move along, and I love it. The next track is also a really good track. It's called "A Matter of Twine."
At 11:06, my watch stopped start living, it's a beautiful dream. The box springs turning in the music machine, and your grandmother's run from the room. It's only a matter of twine before I have run for the exit too.
This one's interesting for me because Logan played this for me in the van when we were going to play a show somewhere.
Yeah.
This one, and Saturday 243.
Yeah.
And it's, I feel like I kind of looking back, I'm like, oh, I was kind of immature then because I don't think I really liked either of them that much. Like I was like, oh, it's kind of another like Logan piano song. Like he can just do these all day and spit them out. When I hear this one now, it actually really affects me, and it works on a kind of Paul McCartney, like super catchy, and this one's like absurdly catchy level.
Yeah.
But the lyrics are actually pretty serious, and I realize now that his grandmother actually died around this time.
Oh dang.
And so yeah, it's got some pretty serious content in it.
It does, and it is weird. But at the same time, it's like you said, it's very catchy. It's lighthearted on the surface, but it's actually like some serious stuff underneath. And it's funny. Logan says here, so he recorded it at Sonoma State. Apparently, the piano was in their music department, and he says, "I think this song has a lot of meaning, but I'm not quite sure what it is. I have an idea though. It's about the formation of coral atolls in the Pacific Ocean. No, that's not it." That's funny. But I feel like this song in particular is really just like an underrated gem on this album. It really is, and it's got his classic piano style. I love the show tuning style. I really do, and and it, obviously a lot of thought went into it, and I think it really shows.
It has a really good flow to the lyrics, and I think the piano has lots of hooks in it. I think this is my favorite song on the album.
This is it?
Yeah.
I gotta say, this is like a close second for me. I really do like this one as well.
Yeah.
A Matter of Twine, you get a gold star from Owen and a silver star from me. You get a silver star. Not quite good enough for gold, but you get my silver star.
Yep. We'll take it. We'll take what we can get.
We'll take what we can get. Track 17 is They Were Not Their Normal Size.
This is the thing that took me by complete and utter surprise. I saw my hands on television, and they were not their normal size. They were not their normal size. This is the thing that made me stop. Check my pockets again. I heard the voices come from my wallet. A 20 arguing with a 10.
Like this one too. It's kind of it really is kind of like hiding between all these really good tracks, but this reminds me of something that like you'd hear on They Might Be Giants' like very first album, and it's just kind of like that weirdness, and it kind of plays around with different keyboard sounds and a drum machine and all that stuff, and I really kind of dig it in a weird way.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's more bizarre than funny.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just that kind of like, it's just like stuff that you'd think like when you're half asleep, like you see your hands on TV and they're not their normal size. It's like almost kind of like you're not quite fully awake yet. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And
very cool.
It gives off that feeling. Yeah, it is. It's pretty cool. Track 18 is another cover on this album. It's called What I Ain't Got.
Oh no, I ain't got a job, I ain't got a car, I ain't got a dime to my name. I ain't got a girl, I ain't got a home, and I need to shave my ears.
this song has a really interesting, I guess, like rags to riches story, you could say. So the original version of this song, which I found and I uploaded it to YouTube under some random alt account. It's very simple. It's Albert Peter, and he's on his piano, and he's literally like just hitting the notes of the melody of the song that you can tell he came up with in like 5 seconds, and he just decided to put it on mp3.com, and apparently Logan found it, and he made this cover of it, which is so well like arranged and so like it sounds like an actual song, and it's interesting how this is what he took away from that like short 15-second something that most people would just kind of look over. Logan saw this, and it's really I find that pretty incredible.
Yeah, I never read the liner notes and knew that it was by somebody else, but it always had that. Sometimes like you can just be kind of like playing an instrument and sort of singing random stuff.
Yeah.
And you're not even, and you kind of get into like a dream state. You're not even thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
And you might record it. This seems like one of those.
It is, and if you heard the original, you could definitely hear that. It sounds like Albert is literally making this up on the spot, and it's funny how he basically put it on mp3.com to basically forget about it, and Logan takes this idea of this something that just really not most people would not think it was good, but Logan saw it and he made this very well arranged piece, and I think that that blows me away. It really does.
Yeah, it's very well done.
Yeah, so this gets a gold star for me. This gets a gold star. Track 19 is a question which I have been asking for a very long time, and I'm glad somebody is finally bringing it up to the front here. Why don't they call it art?
I'm standing on my head. My feet are in the air. I see my feet and they are in the air. I'm standing on the ground. My feet are on the ground. I see my feet and they are on the ground.
I'm standing on my head, my feet are in the air. I see my feet and they are in the air, they're in the air. I'm standing on the ground, my feet are on the ground. I see my feet and they are on the ground, they're on the ground.
What is this thing called existentialism? What is this thing called neo-Dadaism? What is this thing called post-impressionism? What is this thing called neoclassicism?
Why don't they call it art? Why don't they call it good? Why don't they call
This one reminds me of, I remember having conversations with Logan about, because he was studying art at this time.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, he's going to Sonoma State, which is kind of in Roanoke Park. It's not an art school at all.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird. Like, I mean, he's like a guy who went to the National Spelling Bee. I don't know. He was probably valedictorian or something. I don't even know.
He might have been, yeah. No, I see.
Yeah.
He's very smart.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like he just picked to go to Sonoma State because he was like, oh, well, seems like a nice area to live. Like, it's not too far. It's like far enough away from my family that I'm going away to school, but not too far. And,
Yeah,
you know, it's not an art school, but he's like, yeah, I'll do like printmaking there. But anyway, I remember him talking about how like some of the other students in his program were very much like interested in kind of understanding art history and all the different movements, so that they could kind of identify their own philosophy and kind of see their place in art history and, you know, where they were. I think this was like a very foreign concept to Logan, who was just kind of like, oh, hey, I feel like drawing a picture of this. Oh, hey, why don't we make this song? And so it, like, I think he enjoyed like the craft of art school and, you know, enjoyed like, learning art history in the sense that just looking at art and appreciating it. Yeah. But I think he just kind of wasn't really that interested in being overly theoretical about it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I see. That is interesting. I got a really like nice note here. So Logan says, I was so stressed about my art history midterm that I got a pimple on my chin. Not just a little whitehead, no. One of those big honkers that consume your whole face like big red leeches. This is a song about how I hate overclassification and multi-syllabicity. Well, I aced the midterm, which is surprising since I wrote the song instead of studying. Typical. I always thought this song was so funny, and right now I'm taking summer classes at a local college, and I'm taking art history right now, and this song is so true, so true. I am feeling every inch of this song. I really am.
I remember he showed me his notes actually, and you know, it would, like, if they were talking about Van Gogh or something, he would quickly like draw a little picture of the painting.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I should start doing that now, because I gotta find out all the different characteristics of the Baroque era, the Rococo, and I really don't want to. You gotta help me out here, Owen. I really don't want to do this.
No, it's important. It's very important.
It is important.
Listen,
why don't they call it art?
Listen to the authorities.
I do. I will. I'm gonna take Logan's advice. I'm just gonna write a song instead of studying for the midterm.
Or make a podcast.
Yes, or make a podcast. Hey, maybe this is helping. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'll let you know. So we're almost done with the album here. We got 2 more tracks left, and this next track is probably my favorite Logan song, not just on the album, but in general. I think this is his most well-written song, and it's confusing because it's got 2 different titles. So technically, by all means necessary, this song is called Saturday 2:43 p.m. However, I've seen it referred to it by a completely different name, The Death of a Dreamer. I don't know where the confusion came in. I don't know if he posted it on mp3.com as a different name. I really have no idea. So for convenience's sake, I'm going to call this Saturday 2:43 p.m. The Death of a Dreamer.
The sun is very bright today, and still the clouds are big and gray. I wonder why that makes me think of you. The light that lands upon your face is from the depths of outer space, a billion years from Western Avenue. My emotional survival depends on your arrival. Right hand on the Bible, do you solemnly swear that you'll keep our agreement to meet me on the pavement, to come to my apartment at the top of the stairs? I'll sing a little breakup song until I see you come along, or maybe I will write that song for you. And then a circuit in my brain will explode, and there you'll be again, and we can count the craters on the moon. My emotional survival depends on your arrival. Right hand on the Bible, do you solemnly swear that you'll keep our agreement to meet me on the pavement, and come to my apartment at the top of the stairs?
So there is quite an extensive backstory to this song. So this seems to be the first Logan track that was actually recorded in a studio. He says he did a demo of the song a long time ago with a cheesy piano sound, and he spent time at Hyde Street Studios in San Francisco to help record with Lucky Strike. And he wanted to bring in his 4-track, and he used the in-studio equipment to record this version of the song in the studio.
Interesting. Does it sound way better to you, or does it seem like
This sounds, personally, I mean, it sounds about the same as all the other tracks, but there definitely is like a marimba, which you haven't heard on any other tracks or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, this is another like live track. That's definitely like all the instruments are real. There's no keyboard sounds or anything here. And I mean, I just really, really like this song. I feel like it sums up everything Logan's written up to this point, like everything that was kind of random or silly or serious, is kind of all meshed into this one song, and it reeks Logan, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like in terms of song craftsmanship, this is really reaching a new level. In both in terms of like melody and lyrics, but also it has really distinct parts. It's a very classic kind of songwriter's song. I'd be interested to know if Randy Newman was an influence on this. Because it's definitely got that sort of piano song craftsmanship.
Yeah,
sort of thing
exactly.
to it.
And it's definitely like it's a ballad by all means, and it's interesting because I mean it's about a guy getting hit by a car, and yet again it's like a matter of twine in that it is so lighthearted on the surface, even though it's about a guy that's literally dying on the street. And I don't know, it's just really this song, and I don't know, it really speaks to me. And the last line, my life will not be fleeting when I'm out among the stars, that's on his epitaph.
Yeah, so it's actually, it's like he's trying to do that more serious stuff and pulling it off.
Yeah, exactly, because he's not being too like deadly serious, like A Special Gift to You or the cover of Big Mistake. This is him being as serious as, but still being Logan, still keeping true with his silly roots, I guess.
So the song seems to be about kind of the character, I'll just say the character, has fallen in love with someone, but they're separate, and they're hoping to meet again. And then there's kind of a death, but do you think it's kind of a story about somebody literally dying, or is it kind of that the relationship didn't work out, or what's your take?
It might be a metaphor, because, I mean, so he says, like, everyone's kind of gathered around me, and then he sees the girl, and he basically starts singing aloud, goodbye, goodbye. That's all I have to say. And so this might be more the death of a relationship than the literal death. But it's just funny to think of it as a literal death for some reason.
Yeah. I wonder what Saturday 243. It would be great to know.
Yeah, that's a very specific day and time, isn't it? I mean, if we were going like the Beatles with like Paul is Dead theory, we would do something along those lines.
So here's my take listening to this song now, and I didn't get it at the time, but I feel like more and more Logan was trying to talk about really serious things going on in his life.
Yeah.
But he's doing it in this very covert way, where you kind of have to really be paying attention to get it.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you here. This is definitely and A Matter of Twine. They're both brother and sister. They're both like the same kind of song, in that it's a very serious song about serious topics, and yet at the same time, on the surface, everything seems very lighthearted, and it comes off as just a catchy song.
Yeah, I think it's very good.
Yeah, and I think that's really hard to pull off, isn't it? I mean, to make something that sounds so lighthearted, yet at the same time, there's actually like a deeper meaning behind it, and it's only like when you start looking into it, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah. There's this. Shoot, I'm not going to be able to remember the song, but there's a famous song like this where if you really listen to it, it's kind of about the character being suicidal.
Oh.
But it comes up. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that like you'd expect from like really like master songwriters, and here Logan's pulling it off twice, and I think that's just incredible. That's why this song in particular, this is my favorite Logan song.
Yeah, you could tell he's also doing it very naturally.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what you're saying about him. He's not trying to push it. He's not trying to force it out of him. He's just letting it come out naturally the best way he can.
Yeah. Hey, do you know the song? The song I was trying to reference a minute ago is Alone Again, Naturally. Do you know that song?
I don't think so. Who did that?
I can't remember his name. It's like a one-hit wonder.
Naturally. All right, I'll have to check
that one out.
Oh,
yeah.
And by the way, thank you for the reference for Temporary Secretary. We recommended Temporary Secretary with the last album. That the first time I listened to that song, I was actually kind of scared. I was like, "What is this?" And I listened to that whole album, Paul McCartney's McCartney 2, and I found a lot of like correlations between that album and like Logan stuff in general. So McCartney 2 is an album, I think it's after the breakup of Wings, and Paul McCartney's just home recording by himself. And he's doing all these like really silly songs, as well as songs that are like just completely Paul McCartney. And I think actually this album might be like Logan's McCartney 2.
Oh, right.
Because he got really silly stuff, that's even stuff that's not that good. Temporary Secretary is good in a horrible way, or is it no? It's horrible in a great way, in that it's a horrible song, yet it's just so silly. I love it. And then you got stuff like on the same album, like Waterfalls and One of These Days, which are just really good songs. And I feel like Earth is Big is good in that same way. You got stuff like Tokyo Narita and I Want to Rock on the same album as A Matter of Twine and Saturday 243.
Totally, by the way, McCartney, his first solo album, was also made at home after the Beatles, of the breakup of the Beatles. But you're right.
And that was all home recorded, right?
Yeah, they have that home recording kind of thing in common.
So I can kind of see some correlations between that. But yeah, no, this that's why this personally, I think I might have to retract that after re-listening to Goodbye My 4-track, but this is probably my favorite Logan album.
Oh.
I really like it.
Cool.
So this brings us to the final track on the album. It's the return of none other than Sid Sheinberg. Apparently he escaped out of hell, and he's still going around touring the clubs, and this is called Sid Sheinberg Sings, CP Violation Song.
Hey, Sid? Sid?
Yeah, what is it, kid? You want an autograph?
Well, sure, but I was wondering if I could ask you a question.
Hand me that pen there. I'll sign your napkin.
Here you go.
What's your name?
Logan.
To Logan. Thanks for bothering me after my piano act and making me miss my bus home. O-M-E. Sidney J. Sheinberg. E-R-G.
Thanks. Anyway, about that question.
I know what you're gonna ask, so don't even bother. Here, let me sing you a song about it before the bar closes here. Okay. The Charge Conjugation Parity Violation Song by Sidney J. Sheinberg. 2, 3. There's matter in my trousers. There's matter in my hair. There's so much freaking matter, it's damn near everywhere. What isn't making sense to me is how it all got there. But seriously, what puzzles me is why I even care. Physicists love symmetry. It's simple and it's nice. For explaining all phenomena, just a couple rules suffice.
So my take on this song is, Logan had done a lot of songs that were kind of sort of parodies of a style of music, but making it be kind of like this educational science song.
Yeah.
And this is a parody of those songs. Because it's about it's about some like scientific thing that pretty much nobody cares about. And it's not done in a way that you can kind of like remember it or anything.
Exactly. Yeah. No. So Logan said that this was an assignment for his cosmology class. He says, it went over pretty well, but I think I lost everybody around the middle of Sid's exposition. That's okay. It lost me too. And it's funny listening to this song because it's like, you're right. It's catchy up to a certain point, and then Sid just goes all off on about antimatter and laboratories and what was it, the K's or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can't remember any of that, and you're like, what the heck is he saying? But when I finished listening to the song, I'm like, wow, I feel a lot smarter now, even though I have no idea what he just said. I feel much smarter.
Definitely, if you did figure out what this song was about, you would probably boost your IQ 10 points.
Yes. Either that or gain 100 points. I'm not sure which one. I'm probably losing 10 points just trying to figure it out right now. But yeah, no, I love Sid Sheinberg. I think Sid is hilarious, and it's unfortunate that I think this is the last track he appears on.
Oh, the last of Sid Sheinberg.
Sid's last hurrah. It's the CP Violation song.
Yeah, it's really. I love the radio play kind of stuff at the beginning. It's great.
Yeah. The fact Logan's talking to himself as Sid, it's great. So that was Earth is Big. What are your thoughts, Owen?
Yeah, I guess in summary, it's kind of a big boost forward in recording quality, arranging, singing, piano playing, and also kind of a album where instead of experimenting with kind of sounds and noise, there's still some of that, but it's moving into experimenting with more of kind of emotional content.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I really like it because of that. I like that he's going outside of his writing comfort zone, I guess. And rather than writing all these silly songs that he likes, he's trying to do something different. And this album is kind of a conglomeration of everything that he's done up to this point. And I really like it because of that. It really is like a good demo reel of what he's capable of.
Totally. Yeah, and I think it's like sometimes occasionally it doesn't work, but then in the times when it does, it's a real breakthrough.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. So before we go here, I have to ask, so this album came out in 2000, and Goodbye My 4-Track came out in 2003. So during that 3-year gap, I know he was doing the Velveteen. Was he still like writing and recording, or was he like taking a break? What do you know what was happening there?
I'm not totally sure. It doesn't feel. My memory is that it wasn't 3 years between this and that. So I think I have also seen that Goodbye My 4-Track came out in 2003, but I'm not totally sure I believe that. Or if it is true, then it must have been kind of done for a long time.
Gotcha, yeah.
Because I know that I played on actually quite a few tracks on Goodbye My 4-Track.
Yeah,
and it wasn't like years later. But I do think that Logan was pretty busy doing the Velveteen as well.
Yeah, alright, that makes sense. Alrighty, well that was the fourth album in the Junior Science Club discography, Earth is Big. What do you rate this album, Owen? What would you give it? Give a star rating?
Like 1 to 5 stars?
Yeah, out of everything we've listened to so far, how would you rate this?
Well, I don't know about star ratings, but I would say, like, I still like I Would Be As Big As Octopus more.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I kind of know it's wrong and nobody will agree with me.
That's alright.
But I do really like this one, and I do think it's a leap forward in all the ways we kind of talked about.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. This is probably my favorite so far. If Goodbye My 4-Track like really pulls me in that direction again, because it's been a while since I've listened to it, but I have a feeling that's gonna be my favorite album of all of these. But as of right now, I think Earth is Big is my favorite.
Cool.
So thank you everyone for listening. This has been Talk in the Microphone with Connor Nyberg and Owen Otto. Be sure to tune in sometime whenever we record next, and we'll be talking about the infamous Goodbye My 4-Track.
Goodbye.
My 4-Track.